Hello and welcome to our video interview. My name is Märt Ridala and today I'm going to talk with Paul Silm. Paul Silm works as a data scientist in Solita, and we're going to talk about interesting topics around AI. So first of all, what type of projects, what type of development an AI specialist does, where can organizations use AI and data science, what tools are there available, and finally we're going to talk about the topic if it is sensible now to become an AI specialist or not. So welcome, Paul, and you are a data scientist. So this is obviously one of the most coolest job at the moment, according to internet, isn't it? And our goal is to find out, is it so? And what is it? What's the state of AI actually today? And what is it that the data scientists and AI specialists do? So maybe as a starter, can you give us an idea? Is it cool work, or how does it feel to be an AI specialist?
For me, it's cool for sure in the way it looks, the way it sounds to people. When I went to study artificial intelligence and I was telling people about that I'm studying AI, everyone thought, "Oh, cool." That was just the number one reaction I got. And the second question was, "So you work with robots?" Which is now, when I would say that I do AI, no one says out the word cool, but they still think a bit. So it is still, it's trendy in the sense. Just now everyone thinks of ChatGPT.
Okay. So it is not robots, and actually, is it ChatGPT, or can you give us examples of what you actually do, or which type of projects you work on?
So you can specialize in different domains of AI. It's actually very very wide, wild also field, because it's a wild west in a sense. It's unregulated largely. It's new breakthroughs, new upgrades, new tests. People are trying out different things all the time. So currently, what are, let's say, 3 big domains of AI that I would bring out are still robotics is I would say a specialized domain which hasn't had many breakthroughs recently, and is actually even Elon Musk has realized that it's very difficult thing actually to replace a human being. And then large language models and ChatGPT is what everyone knows about, and I would say this is the thing that is creating a lot of change in the world with AI. This is why people are talking about it now, because all of a sudden everyone can have a personal assistant on their computer, and they're becoming more integrated into all kinds of software. And I believe that this integration is also how our near future will change from AI. But I personally have been working still mostly on traditional machine learning, where you require a lot of data, you have to structure it, you have to work with it, you have to put a lot of manual processing and a lot of specialist artificial intelligence machine learning work into it, and then you come up with a specialized solution for a specific company, for example, which can replace a specific task in a company. For example, we just did recently for a door manufacturing company, detecting whether a door is configured properly or not, and this required a lot of manual labor actually to understand how to train an AI with this.
But it in the end is very useful for the company.
Yes, it's very useful, because the specific task is very costly and very difficult to do with too many people. there are a lot of they have 40 workers, and you can just train one AI once, and it will do at least part of the job that no longer has to be worried about by this churn of like new employee coming in and not knowing how to do it, etc., and making mistakes which are very costly. Like
if you look at this example and others, what are the kind of tasks that organizations can use AI for, and what are the prerequisites for this? Or is it just I just come along and say, yeah, and I want now AI to substitute half of my employees?
It depends. I believe almost every company has a lot of tasks that can be automated already with various Gen AI, large language model based personal assistant type of software, because the main limitation with this is currently that it's not well integrated into Word, or it's becoming integrated now more rapidly. It's just not so well integrated yet, and people are working on it, and it's clear that this will, in the next couple of years, change quite a lot of how we interact with our basic applications on the computer that we use for productivity purposes. And a lot of the tedious, repetitive types of tasks like writing emails, writing reports, this kind will be automated away, and any company can go ask people who like know about this stuff, or just go online and actually search for various tasks that they have and that they feel are repetitive, or they feel shouldn't require specialists.
Okay, so everybody can have a personal assistant, or I don't know, write an email faster using the tools for that, or do a report. So that's my personal selection. But is there like more like a business manager wants to substitute the whole process or make the whole process more efficient type of, where is AI good in that sense?
In such processes, assuming that they're usually such processes that the business would want to automate are quite business critical and thereby also costly. And because they're costly, companies usually also have quite a lot of data on it. However, the quality of the data and for automating such processes, it needs to be quite good, because if you train a human and you can give the data that the company already has, for example, and the human can actually figure out what to do based on the data, and they can make a lot of connections, especially like more intelligent people can figure it out themselves. And AI really requires a lot of, let's just say AI can't differentiate between a small exceptional case and it can make a lot of conclusions based on outliers, and you need to remove outliers. For example, you need to sort of fine-tune it and guide it through the process in some sense by training it. And because AI or machine learning doesn't work exactly as our human brains, it's imitating human learning, but it doesn't. There are some unintuitive differences, and for that reason, most people, software engineers who otherwise have the engineering capability, are not quite fit for such tasks. And in this case, the company will need to consult a specialist.
Yeah.
But such as Solitaire.
Like Solitaire and data is key. But what type of tasks on a general level? I understand that AI can be even as good as a medium person doing routine things or medium office work. I understood robotics is difficult, or
yeah, robotics. Like on a factory line, robotics is fine, for example, right? Problem, for example, a good example to bring up is Elon Musk when in Tesla, they tried to automate everything with robots, making cars in the whole factory. The problem was that sometimes the door, for example, was just a little bit off. A human being can see it and be like, oh, it just needs a bit push. A robot hasn't learned such an area. And it's very difficult to teach robots that. It's a little bit easier to teach it in the context of just data and where there is no physical component of it, because usually in these situations we have more data and more such cases that the robot can learn from.
So office work.
Office work. In which sense, office work?
No, I mean it's not physical work, but in office work when you do routine things, is that something where?
Yes, or yeah, factory line work also. Things that are very standardized. And yeah.
Okay, so
where there's less margin of error, where there's no dynamic component, where you
do the same thing after every week once.
Yeah, exactly that. And repetitiveness, yes, is important, and having enough data is very important, and quality data in this sense. And in this sense.
But one thing we did discuss was, or I've noticed that sometimes when I do also repetitive stuff like doing reports, and but I do this because I also learn when I do. I get the feeling of the numbers and the business. So if I would give it to an AI, then it would probably make very good reports, but doesn't enhance my understanding of the business. Then, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, then the question is, how much are you writing the reports to understand business, versus how much do you write them because you just have to write them?
Yeah.
If the understanding business part is very big part of why you even write the reports, then maybe it doesn't make sense to automate it. But perhaps it's also possible that you can automate the reports, and you can also visualize some data there automatically that will help you understand the business without having to do this other tedious part of the work.
If I would be doing them for someone else, then then AI would be good to take it over. What is your view about the readiness of tools now? A few years ago, for example, we did a project where we for one recycling company to separate winter tires and summer tires, and we managed to do it. But the tooling was quite in early stages, and it took a lot of work from our specialists to teach the models to recognize the signs on the winter tires. And what's the level of tools nowadays?
And how much data you had or not? And
data needed to be gathered also, basically photographing tires. So that's just one example. But is it easy now to do a machine learning project, or do you need to build the foundations also?
So foundations don't need to be built. Foundations are frameworks, different models, like prepackaged models, even for recognizing different, let's just say, image recognition. I'm sure there are tools out there that will automate. You just give it data and labels, and probably it will be like a software as a service type of scenario where you pay upfront, not much, but you just, to keep using the model, you will just have to keep paying. And because it's quite a standard problem, let's say, where the tooling becomes, let's say, not even less mature. I would say tooling is already quite mature in terms of AI and machine learning projects. But where you just require more than tooling is where you have more complex processes, which are, let's say, multiple steps, require multiple models maybe to recognize different things and to combine all these things. And maybe there's some very special niche parts there. Then For this, we have different cloud software, such as Databricks, which I have used, which helps streamline quite a bit and doesn't really. It means that I, as a machine learning engineer, could just focus on more the theoretical part and the code and the rest of the infrastructure that's mostly handled.
Okay, it's good. And probably the development is like going further and further. So soon you have tools for everything available.
Yes, it's. I think currently tools such as Databricks are actually quite good as they are already, because to automate things further, you will need to have the whole AI ecosystem to mature first. I would say that currently tools are not the limitation in this sense.
Okay.
It's more the fact that we don't really know what kinds of AI to use, in what kinds of places, what kinds of models, or even like model is also just a way of using data to make inferences. There are like new breakthroughs there sometimes, and this can change the whole ecosystem.
But from Solitas perspective, this is good news. So this means that there is work for our expertise, just selecting the tools, choosing which to use and which are appropriate for a certain situation and certain problem. That's. But my last question. So word of advice to our younger listeners or their parents. So if you were 18 today, would you learn AI and data science now or not? Would you choose something else?
I would almost certainly, if let's just say that, I haven't checked what options are out there, but I haven't thought of anything else. Right now, if I had to, just based on my information, what I know about what options there are, and I had to be back in the age of 18, not 7 years back, but let's say right now, I will still go for the same program, I think. For me, it was more important that I was doing. I went to study artificial intelligence partly because it's the future, and I just felt safe choosing it because I knew that there will be job guarantee, but more importantly because I found it interesting, and I went to learn it, not even knowing that I will actually be doing AI work. I thought that perhaps I will be more interested in the psychology, which I learned there also a little bit, and linguistics and philosophy and other things which I was curious about, and just after studying a little bit, I understood that no, it's not what I want, especially except psychology, which I still like, but the other parts I didn't resonate with me. So, but for someone that's currently trying to choose, I would still recommend to choose something that's interesting to them. So if they find AI interesting, I 100% recommend it as at least a good option, because for sure there's still market for different AI specialists in the near, say, coming decades.
Yeah.
It's just
so after you graduate, you still.
Yes,
yeah.
that I believe that AI won't automate AI anytime soon.
But it's a very fast developing area, isn't it? So if it is boring, you just.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
It's not the best type of job to get for just income purposes in systems. I mean, maybe you're very intelligent and hardworking, and it's fine for you. But I mean, I guess just as a life advice, I would anyway recommend not choosing something that's boring. So I think actually, given that AI is automating a lot of things, unless you're specifically interested in it, it doesn't make sense to choose it even, because now a lot of our economy I think will be restructured based on how much we're able to automate different fields. And it's not easy to predict what fields will be more relevant. I mean, probably more physically dangerous, more complex jobs will not see much change in demand, perhaps in demand, but not in the negative sense.
Okay.
Because yeah, like AI won't automate them, let's just say. But so it makes maybe more sense now than ever to risk it and go for something that interests you, even if it doesn't seem like it's going to be a good job or career prospect.
Okay.
Because if something interests you, you're gonna do it really good eventually. And most likely that means you're gonna do it better than like a typical AI that can be automated for the same task.
Okay, that was a very good thought. So let's stop at that. So learn something that's interesting for you. Thank you, Paul, and thank you for listening and viewing us.
Thank you.